One of the most popular internet services, electronic mail. Its architecture consists of several components that we discuss in this video. Electronic mail is the method of exchanging message between people using electronic devices. At the beginning of the internet era, the messages sent by electronic mails were short and consisted of text only. They let people exchange quick memos. Today, electronic mail is much more complex. It allows a message to include text, audio, and video. It also allows one message to be sent to one or more recipients. So in this video, we first study the general architecture of an email system, including the three main components: user agent, message transfer agent, and message access agent. We then describe the protocol that implement these components. To explain the architecture of email, here we are going to see about 4 scenarios. We will begin with the simplest situation and add complexity as we proceed. So in the first scenario, we are going to assume that the sender and the receiver of the email are users on the same system. That is, they are directly connected to the shared system. The administrator has created one mailboxes. So here we have one mailboxes for each user where the received messages are stored. A mailbox is a part of local hard drive, a special file with permission restrictions. Only the owner of the mailbox has access to it. So now we will consider the small example. When Alice, a user, needs to send a message to Bob, another user, Alice runs the user agent program to prepare the message. Using this user agent program, Alice is going to prepare the message and store it in the mailbox, Bob's mailbox. The message has a sender and recipient mailbox address. Now, Bob can retrieve and read the content of the message at his convenience using the user agent. So, in this case, the sender and the receiver of email, they are in the same system. Then it is enough to have two user agents. In the second scenario, we will do a small modification. That is, the sender and the receiver of the email are not going to be in the same system, but they are going to be in two different systems. So in this case, the which we have shown in figure, the message need to be sent over the internet. So here again we need two user agents, and in addition to that we need to have a MTA, that is message transfer agent. Now again we will see a small example. Alice needs to use a user agent program to the system at her own site. The system at her site uses a queue to store the message waiting to be sent. Bob also needs an user agent to retrieve the message stored in the mailbox. At his side, the message, however, need to be sent through the internet. The message is going to be sent through the internet from Ali's side to Bob's side. So here we have two message transfer agents. One is MTA client and the other one is MTA server. So if you are going to use this, if the sender and the receiver are going to be on two different systems, then in that case we need to have two user agents and a pair of message transfer agent, that is MTA. One is going to be behave like a client and the other one is going to be a server. So in the third scenario, we will add a little more advanced task where again the Bob is going to be as in the second scenario, that is he is directly connected to his system. However, Alice is separated from her system. Either Alice is connected to his system through a LAN or WAN. It may be, if it is a WAN, then using a dial-up modem, a DSL or a cable modem. Or if he is connected to a LAN in an organization that uses one mail server for handling the email, all users need to send their message to this mail server. So here everyone has to send to this mail server. Alice still needs user agent to prepare her message. She then needs to send the message through the LAN or WAN. This can be done through a pair of message transfer agent. That is, we have here message transfer agent. Whenever Alice has a message agent, she calls the user agent, which in turn calls this user agent, which in turn calls the MTA client. The MTA client establishes the connections with the MTA server on the system. So after this, here the MTA server is going to be, see here we have an MTA server. So it is going to establish the connection to the MTA server, which should run all the time. So the system at Ali's side queues all the message received. So it is like previous examples, it will be queued all the messages. The system at Ali's side is going to be, after queuing the message, it then uses the MTA client to send the message to the system's Bob side. The system receive the messages will be stored in the Bob's mailbox. As usual, at his convenience, Bob uses his user agent to retrieve the message and reads it. But when you see in this example, here we have two user agents and two pair of MTAs. One MTA is for the sender and to his server. The other MTA is used for the mail server and to the Bob's system. The last scenario, which is going to be a common scenario which we are using nowadays, where both Bob and Alice is connected to the mail server by a WAN or LAN. After the message has arrived, the Bob mail server, Bob need to retrieve it. Therefore, here we need another client server agent, which we call it as a message access agent. Bob uses an MAA client to retrieve his message The client sent requests to MAA server, which is running all the time. We all know that. And request the transfer to the message. Here we have to note two important points. First, Bob cannot bypass the mail server and use the MTA server directly. To use MTA server, Bob would need to run MTA server all the time because he does not know when message will arrive. This implies that Bob must keep his computer on all the time. If he is connected to his system through a LAN or if he is connected through a WAN, he must keep the connection up all the time. Neither of this situation is feasible today. Second, note that Bob needs another pair of client server program, which is a message access program. This is so because an MTA client server program is a push program, but Bob needs to pull a program. So for this case, to push the program, we are going to use the agent message transfer agent, and to pull the message, we are going to use the message access agent. So now we are going to see one by one about these components in detail and its corresponding protocols. The first component of an electronic mail system is the user agent. It provides services to the user to make the process of sending and receiving a message easier. A user agent is a software package that compose, read, replies to, and forward message. As most of us using the mail, we all know about these words. In addition to that, it also handle the mailboxes. So we'll have a little bit introduction about these facts. The first one is, these services, we can call it as services. So first one is composing the message. So a user agent helps to send out the composed email message. Most user agent is going to provide a template on the screen to be filled by the user. Some even have a built-in editor that can do spell checking, grammar checking, and other tasks expected from a sophisticated word processor. The next one is reading a message. It is used to read the incoming messages. When a user invokes a user agent, it first checks the mail in the incoming mailbox. Most user agents shows a one-line summary of each received mail, which we have seen in our mails. Uh, each email is going to contain contains the following field, which we have already known: a number field, a flag field that shows the status of the mail, such as new, already need but not replied to, or read and reply to, the size of the message, the sender, and the optional subject field. These are all the fields we are going to have when we are going to read the mail. Next one is replying to a message. A user agent usually allows the user to reply to the original sender or to reply to all the recipients of the message. The reply message may contain the original message and the new message. Forwarding. Replying is defined as sending a message to the sender or recipients of the copy. Forwarding is defined as sending the message to the third party. So a user agent allow the receiver to forward the message with or without extra comments to the third party. Handling mailboxes. A user agent normally creates two mailboxes, an inbox and an outbox. Each box is a file with a special format that can be handled by the user agent. The inbox keeps all the received emails until they are deleted by the user. The outbox keeps all the sent email until users delete them. So the user agent have different operations such as it helps to compose the message, it allows to read the message, it support to reply the message or to forward the message. It also helps to handle the mailboxes. So this user agent can be of two types. One we call it as command driven. The other one is known as GUI based. As name denotes, the command driven user agent normally accepts a one character command from the keyboard to perform its task. For example, a user can type the character, suppose small or at the command prompt, then it means that he or she need to reply to the sender of the message. Instead of that, if they are typing the character capital R, then it means that the sender is going to send to all the recipients. So we have some examples of command driven user agents are mail, pine and ELM. So one of the example is shown here. So here we have shown that if you are using the letter C, then you are going to compose the new message. Similarly, every comment is going to be indicated by a single letter. The next one is GUI based. Nowadays, we are using only GUI based user agents. It contains graphical user interface component that allow the user to interface with the software by using both the keyboard and the mouse. They will have the graphical component such as icons, menu bar and windows that makes the services easy to access. Some examples of GUI based user agents are Udora, Outlook and Netscape. We have shown here one example. See here we have icons, menus. So based with this support, you can compose the messages. So after this, we have two processes to do. One is to send the mail and the other one is to receive the mail. To send the mail through the user agent, we need to create a mail that looks very similar to postal mail. We all know that in postal mail, we have an envelope and a message. So the envelope usually contains the sender and the receiver address, which is shown in the figure. And the message contains the header and the body. The header of the message defines the sender, receiver, the subject of the message, and some of other informations. The body of the message contains the actual content or actual information to be read by the recipients. So when after sending the mail, whenever you are receiving the mail, it is first triggered by the user. I mean, the user agent will triggered by the user. If the user has a mail, then user agent informs the user with a notice. If the user is ready to use the mail, and a list will be displayed in which each line contains a summary of the informations about a particular message in the mailbox. The summary usually includes the sender mail address, subject, and the time the mail was sent or the received. The user can select any of the message and display the content on the screen. To deliver a mail handling system must use an addressing system with unique address. In the internet, the address consists of two parts, which we have seen in this figure. The first part is local part, and the second part is a domain name, which are separated by an at sign. The local part defines the name of a special file called the user mailbox, where all the mail received for a user is stored for retrieval by the message access agent. The second part is the domain name. An organization usually selects one or more hosts to receive and send email. The hosts are sometimes called mail servers or exchanges. The domain name assigned to each mail exchanger, it either comes from the DNS database or is a logical name. So next we are going to see one important protocol known as multipurpose internet mail extension protocol. So it helps to convert the non-ASCII data to the NVT ASCII data. That is, it allow the non-ASCII data to send through the email. So we will see here in the figure where the non-ASCII data is converted into 7-bit NVT ASCII data, and then it is transformed or transferred by MTA in the internet. In the receiving side is transformed back to the original data. Therefore, we can think of MIME as a software function that transforms non-ASCII data, that is a stream of bits, to ASCII data and vice versa, which we have shown in the figure. So in order to do this, MIME defines 5 headers that can be added to the original email header section. The first one is MIME version. In this header, we need to define the version of MIME used. The current version is 1.1. The next one is content type. This header defines the type of the data used in the body of the message. The content type and the content subtypes are separated by a slash. The next is content transfer encoding. This header defines the method used to encode the message of zeros and ones for transport. Content ID header is going to define uniquely the whole message in a multiple message environment. The last one is content description. As the name, it defines whether the body is image, audio, or video. So we have seen about what is an user agent, what are all the different operation supported by user agent, and how we are going to send and receive the mail. And we have also seen one important supplementary protocol, MIME, that is multi-purpose internet mail extension protocol, which helps to convert the non-ASCII character to the ASCII format. Now we are going to discuss about the next one, the message transfer agent, SMTP. So we all know that the actual mail transfer is done through the mail transfer agent, which we have seen in our architecture. To send a mail, a system must have the client mail transfer agent, and to receive a mail, a system must have a server mail transfer agent. The formal protocol that defines the MTA client and server in the internet is called Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. So if you see in this figure, SMTP is used two times between the sender and the sender mail server, and between the two mail servers. SMTP simply defines how comment and responses must be sent back and forth. So SMTP uses comment and responses to transfer message between an MTA client and an MTA server. Each comment or reply is terminated by a two character. One is carriage return and the other one is line feed to denotes the end of line token. The commands are sent from client to the server. The format of client command is shown in the figure. It consists of a keyword followed by 0 or more arguments. SMTP defines 14 commands. The first 5 are mandatory. Every implementation must support these 5 commands. The next 3 are often used and highly recommended. The last 6 are seldom used. Responses are sent from the server to the client. A response is the 3-digit code that may be followed by an additional textual information. As the table shows, the responses are divided into 4 categories. The leftmost digit of the code 2, 3, 4 and 5 define the category. So we have shown here some possible code as a table. See, for example, when you use a series which starts with 2 means it tells that it is positive completion reply. If you use the code starts with 3, then it means that positive intermediate reply. Similarly, we have 4 different codes, 2, 3, 4 and 5. The next phase is the mail transfer phase. In this case, we need to establish the connection, and then mail will be transferred and the connection will be terminated. So we have 3 phases here. First, you need to establish the connection. The next case is the mail is going to be transferred, and the last cases will be connection terminated. So these are all the operations of the simple mail transfer protocol, which is going to be act like a MTA. The last one is message access agent. Here we have 2 popular protocols, POP and IMAP. The first and the second stage of mail delivery use SMTP, which we have shown in the figure. However, SMTP is not involved in the third stage because we have already learned that MTA or SMTP is a push protocol. It pushes the message from client to server. In other words, the direction of the bulk data is from client to the server. On the other hand, the third stage needs a pull protocol. That is, the client must pull the messages from the server. The direction of the bulk data is from server to the client. So for this, to pull the message, that is, we need to transfer the message from server to client. We are going to use a message access agent. Currently, two message access protocols are available. One is Post Office Protocol version 3 and the other one is Internet Mail Access Protocol version 4. So we'll see a little detail about these two protocols. So Post Office Protocol version 3 is simple and limited in functionality. The client POP3 software is installed on the recipient computer. The server POP3 software is installed on the mail server, which we have seen in our figure. Mail access starts with the client when the user needs to download email from the mailbox on the mail server. The client opens the connection to the server on TCP port 110. After establishing the connection, it sends the username and password to access the mailbox. The user can then listen, retrieve the mail messages one by one. Here in POP3, we have two modes, the delete mode and the keep mode. In the delete mode, the mail is deleted from the mailbox after each retrieval. In the keep mode, the mail remains in the mailbox after retrieval. So, Post Office Protocol version 3 is going to download the email from the mailbox. For this, it is going to establishes the connection using TCP port 110. Afterwards, it will set the username and then password to the server. After the successful login, the server will send the list. Based on the list, the user can display the content of the message. In this POP, that is Post Office Protocol, we have two modes. One we call it as delete mode and the other one is keep mode. In delete mode, the mail will be deleted after each retrieval. In keep mode, the mail is going to be remain in the mailbox after the retrieval. Next one is another IMAP, that is Internet Mail Access Protocol. It is another mail access protocol. It is going to be same as or similar to POP3, but it has more feature. So IMAP4 is more powerful and more complex. But we first, before we are going to learn about IMAP, we will see some deficient of POP3 protocols. In that, it will not allow the user to organize her mail on the server. Similarly, the user cannot have different folders on the server. In addition to this, POP3 does not allow the user to partially check the content of the mail before downloading. So, in order to make it more powerful and more complex, IMAP provides the following extra functions. A user can check the email header prior to downloading. A user can search the content of the email for a specific strings of character prior to downloading. A user can partially download email. This is especially useful if bandwidth is limited and the email contains multimedia with high bandwidth requirements. A user can create, delete, or rename mailboxes on the mail server. A user can also create a hierarchy of mailboxes in the folder for email storage. These characters makes the IMAP, that is Internet Mail Access Protocol, as more powerful and more complex protocol. So we have come to the conclusion session. We have learned about what is an electronic mail, what is the architecture of the electronic mail. There we have considered 4 different scenarios, and we have start from the simple scenario, that is both sender and receiver are going to be in the same system, and in the second scenario we add a little bit complex, that they are both are going to be stored in 2 different system, and later on the sender is connected to the mail server through the LAN or WAN. The last case, both the sender and receiver are going to be connected to the LAN and WAN. By learning these scenarios, we come to know that we have 3 important components in the electronic mail. The first one is user agent, we call it as UA. Next one is message transfer agent, that is MTA. The last one is message access agent. Why we need to have two different agents like message transfer and message access means, in one case the message is going to be pushed, and in the another case the message is going to be pulled. So we have learned about what are all the operations of user agent, mail transfer agent, and mail access agent, and some of the uh, protocols that helpful for these components. We have learned about multi-purpose mail extension protocol. We all know that it is going to transform the non-ASCII character to the ASCII format, and we have learned about its header version and how it is going to be transmitted. The next one is simple mail transfer protocol. It is going to be act like a MTA. And the last one is we learn we get a small idea about message access agent, where we learn 2 protocols, POP3 and IMAP. So we can conclude this session. Thank you.